Hello and welcome back to the Charlian Forum. My name is Chris, and today I wanted to discuss the newest content in Final Fantasy XIV's 7.25 patch, the Occult Crescent. Now, I've already done a video going over my initial first impressions of the Occult Crescent, as well as the first step of the Phantom Weapon Relic quest. You can find that in the card I've just posted now in the top right corner of this video. In this video, I wanted to just talk about some tips and tricks I've picked up over the course of my time in this content, and give those to you guys. Up first, I wanted to discuss how to actually access this content because it took me a minute to figure this out when I left the island for the first time. This is in Tuliolal at the Wachu Meki Meki area. Now, this is where you also unlock the quest. It is also where you will re-access this content if you need to leave it. When you click on the current here to take yourself to the Phantom Village, or when you complete the quest for the first time to unlock the content, you will end up in the Phantom Village. This is where you can start your relic quest line, and also where you can enter the Occult Crescent proper. Now on to tips about the actual content of the Occult Crescent. My first tip is to focus first on leveling up the 3 basic jobs that you are given when you first complete your quests: the Phantom Knight, Phantom Monk, and Phantom Bard. The reason I recommend focusing on leveling these first is because each of them gives a buff when you use their abilities next to a knowledge crystal. These are the large beige tannish crystals that you'll find next to each aetheryte point. Each of these jobs has a buff which will be granted to the entire party when you use an ability next to one of these knowledge crystals. As far as I can tell, the range of this buff is global, meaning that your party members will receive the buff no matter where they are on the map. I have not been able to fully test this yet, but I haven't ever seen it not apply to someone, so that is my assumption. Now, I'm not saying you necessarily need to level these jobs to max first, but you should probably focus on at least getting access to these buffs because they are very influential buffs, and they will help you across your entire experience if you have them. The Phantom Knight will give you a defense up, Phantom Monk will increase your movement speed, and Phantom Bard will increase your party's XP gain. These need to be refreshed every 30 minutes, so just make sure in between critical engagements you find a knowledge crystal and switch to these jobs and hit these buttons just to make sure that they're up. Up next, I want to talk about Demi-Atma and just sort of the map of the Occult Crescent as a whole. Demi-Atma is a material that's required for the first step of the Phantom Relic weapons. These are dropped by fates and critical engagements, but what a lot of people might not know is that each region of the Occult Crescent map has a chance to drop each color Atma, meaning that if you need to target farm one specific color of Atma, you may be better served waiting for a fate or a critical engagement in that area of the map. Now, I'm going to put a map up on screen now, and I will also link to it below, just showing where the colors of these Atmas are. Keep in mind, if you're target farming a specific color, you can also leave the Occult Crescent and farm regular fates in a Dawn Trail zone that's associated with each color. An additional map I want to show is this one, which lists the monster levels by region of the map. This is extremely important as you gain levels and are looking to start farming gold coins, as you'll need to target monsters that are level appropriate for your party or for yourself solo. Again, I will link to this below. While we're on the topic of farming, we can go ahead and talk about the best ways to farm gold and silver coins. We can start with silver because that's the easier option. In reality, there is only one way to farm silver coins. It is by completing fates and completing critical engagements. This is the only way that I have seen silver coins be dropped, and I have never seen another source for them. I could be wrong, but I don't believe that I am, so just make sure that you're doing critical engagements and fates whenever you can. Gold coins, on the other hand, are only dropped when killing monsters. This means that the best way to gain them is to just simply farm monsters with a party or solo. And that is the 2 methods I'm going to cover. There's 2 main methods I've seen for solo farming gold that have kind of risen above the others. The first is to focus on these level 21 statues far to the right side of the map, the east side, and chain pulling them all with Warrior as your main job and Cannoneer as your phantom job. A fun thing about Cannoneer is that all of its cannon shots are considered weapon skills, which means that while under Bloodwetting they will heal you, and the Phantom Cannoneer's abilities do a lot of damage, and they're all also AoE. This makes Phantom Cannoneer basically perfect for farming groups of mobs, so the idea is to gather up these statues, pop Bloodwetting and some defensive cooldowns, and blast them with your cannon until they all fall over. You just keep your defensives up as much as you can, rotate through them, pop bloodwetting whenever you can to keep yourself alive, and if you have to, enter the gang. Do this over and over again, as these monsters will just respawn until you have the gold coins that you need. The other method for solo farming that I've seen involves a ramp all the way to the west side of the map that has these eye creatures on it. I will post the link to the video that I saw talking about this below. He can go over all of the details in his video. It's a pretty easy method. It's very similar to the statue method, just on a different set of monsters. Now, solo farming is definitely not the most effective way to get gold. Party farming is going to be much faster, but maybe you have a limited amount of time and you just want to get some gold for yourself very quickly. This is a good way to do it. The party farming method basically involves having a bunch of tanks, probably warriors, rotating their cooldowns and defensives in order to round up massive packs of enemies while everyone blasts them with cannons. Either way, you might be sensing a trend here. Having Phantom Cannoneer maxed is very beneficial for gold farming. I recommend if you don't have it maxed, you work on that, since it's used in basically every gold farming method I've seen so far. Another important thing to think about though is what we even spend these coins on. For silver coins, the answer is mostly going to be armor sets. The Arcanauts armor sets are the armor sets for the Occult Crescent. These give decent stats, they're 645 item level, and they give a special bonus inside of the Occult Crescent that gives you some additional bonus of your main stat as well as a +1 to a special attribute. The special attribute is actually an increase in damage for phantom job actions, and it is further enhanced when you increase the armor's level to +1 and +2 through the upgrading process. The materials for this also cost a very large amount of coins, and each piece of the Arcanauts gear costs 4,000 silver coins on its own, so you're going to want to gather a ton of these coins in order to make sure that you're getting these armor sets built. These will definitely increase your power, generally speaking. The other things you can buy with silver coins include 3 of the phantom jobs, which are unlocked through the silver coin vendor, and the riding map, which I would highly recommend that you pick up to increase your mounting speed inside of the zone. For gold coins, there are also 3 jobs that can be purchased from the same vendor, and of course, the more desirable glamour sets are also gold coins. The last 3 jobs that can be unlocked are all random drop chances from 3 different fates around the map. Anytime you see these critical engagements, make sure that you run to them if you don't already have these jobs unlocked, because this is the only way to get them, and the drop chances are not amazing, so you probably will have to do them a few times in order to get them unlocked. And the last thing I'll talk about is entering the Forked Tower. Now, this is something that a lot of people are seemingly confused about, so I just wanted to offer as simple an explanation as I could for anyone that might see this video. Entering the Forked Tower requires a few things to occur. Number 1, the weather has to be in the right state. It's a red sky weather. I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but you'll definitely see it when it happens. The entire sky will turn red, and the little weather icon on the right of your minimap will additionally show a special condition. In order for each person to be eligible to actually enter the Forked Tower, you are required to have completed the main quest line of this initial zone, and you will need a cipher which you can purchase from the antiquarian in the base camp for silver or gold coins. When the special weather happens, and if you have completed the quests and are eligible for entry, underneath the red central pin in the middle of the very center of the map, there is a pagoda that you will need to go to. On each pillar of this pagoda is a reliquary. You can sacrifice one of your ciphers to these reliquaries in order to increase your chances of being recruited into the Forked Tower. You will need to contribute at least 1 to be considered at all. The Forked Tower does have a player limit, so if more than that player limit apply to enter, the game will simply pick at random who to place into the Forked Tower instance. The more ciphers that you contribute, the higher your chances of being chosen are. If you are not chosen, your ciphers will be refunded to you, so you are not losing out on anything if you don't get picked other than the chance to have a run at it. Now, as for phantom jobs, which ones are the best and which ones you should level first, I really think that it's kind of up to you. I do believe, in my experience, having the initial jobs at least leveled enough to unlock the buffs is probably the first thing I would do. The second thing I would do is probably level Cannoneer due to its prevalence in farming parties and its usefulness in solo as well. And then it's really kind of just all about what you might find yourself enjoying. There's a good reason to use pretty much all of the jobs. Some of them are definitely more useful than others in certain types of content. But I will say that I have seen an image going around that is sort of talking about the initial ideation for what people might be expecting to have in Forked Tower. Again, this is content that is brand new. Forked Tower was only cleared for the first time, I believe, a couple of days ago of the recording of this, and so we're talking about something that is still taking shape. We're not necessarily sure that this is completely solved yet, but the image that I have seen going around does recommend the following. For tanks, having a max level knight seems obvious. Healers, having max level chemist is a really good idea because of its very powerful raise ability. And for DPS, having access to thief, ranger, and cannoneer are all very good options. But again, none of these are hard set requirements. It's not like the game will kick you out if you don't have these leveled. So if you want to be as optimal as possible, you may want to target those for your role, but there's certainly nothing to say that you can't level everything else. Keep in mind that for every job that you level completely, you will gain a Phantom Mastery buff, which will increase your potency of all actions inside of the Occult Crescent. And this stacks up for each job that you master. And that's pretty much all of the tips that I have for today. This isn't certainly not a comprehensive video, it's just some stuff that I've picked up in the time that I've been playing, and hopefully answers some questions that I've seen people ask. If you have a different question that I didn't answer in this video, please feel free to leave it down below, and I will do my best to answer it as quickly as I can. And that's all for today. Please remember to like and subscribe, leave a comment telling me what you liked about the video or didn't like about it if you don't, and make sure to share it to your friends to make sure that everyone is doing the best that they can in Occult Crescent. Enjoy your farming, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.